no longer having the burden of having to own vast amounts of luggage, household appliances with short lifespans, and trapped by mortgages or rent, and with much less personal private property required due to access abundance. No more removal vans, no more breaking your back, lifting your sofa downstairs to move to your next home. No more headaches that come, with all that moving all your gear. It's a nightmare. It's supposed to be one of the most stressful things that we ever do in our lives, and yet we do it quite frequently, apparently. It's bizarre. Current homes are not designed for function, but are standardised based on current architectural trends in the area at that time. This is why house hunting can be such a laborious task in this system, because you're looking for a home that suits your needs, and there has never been one designed specifically for them. So you go around various different homes and you say, oh, this one's quite nice, it's got a bigger dining area, it's great for me, I'm a cook, and your missus says, yeah, but I like my computers, I want a little study, and I haven't got a study in this house. So then you move on to your next one. Eventually you find something that's, it's there or thereabouts. It's got character, it's nice, I think we'll go with that home. But it still was never designed to meet your personal needs. I love these things. All fun. Home extensions, these are classic. This is a prime example of how homeowners attempt to make their homes more suitable for their own needs, when they clearly wasn't in the first place. You simply wouldn't need to do this if the home was designed with your needs in mind before construction. This is a huge and unnecessary waste of labour, resources, and can also play a detrimental role in health due to the inherent stresses in construction whilst living in the residence at the time. Something that often comes up as a criticism of our ability to technologically develop the surplus cities, as proposed by Jack Fresco, is of the automated construction. It's, well, these big machines don't exist now, so therefore we can't make the cities, which means the Venus project doesn't work, so let's go back to communism, or whatever. The truth is that our construction methods at the moment, especially in the Western world, are actually quite well developed. There's no reason why these cities could not be built with our current construction methods. Whether or not they're actually designed, constructed, and used on the first city using these automated systems, it really doesn't matter. The automated systems would likely be developed in the first resource-based economy city, or first TMP city. That's something that would be a development project for building the next cities. So it's not a requirement. In 2007, global food production was 8.5 trillion kilograms, or about 1.3 million kilograms per person. In 2007, the average American consumed 1,000 kilograms, and we have an obesity epidemic. Strange that. This implies that in 2007 we produced enough food to feed every man, woman and child 1,000 times over, yet nearly 1 billion people were starving. We don't have an overpopulation problem on this planet. We have a resource management, allocation and distribution problem. To be blunt, we have a technical and political problem. And there's no sign of this problem being solved in any other way than what we're advocating. The problem is global, it affects everyone, and it affects everything from food supply to fresh... This problem is global and affects everything from food supply to fresh water supply to housing to clean renewable energies and even education. There is absolutely no logical reason with the technology that we have available to us today that we cannot provide all of these things as a basic human right instead of something that you have to earn. We could do so easily. with our current technologies. We will use the best technologies available to us at the time of design, whatever they may be at that time. Not simply those with the largest amount of existing profit or money demand. For energy supply, we would use renewable energy systems such as solar, geothermal, volcanic, wind, wave, tidal, etc. These are all proven technologies and as yet unadopted because of the might of the economies and scale presently favouring oil and gas, and even the technologically simple coal industry. It's still running. Why? Surely, I told you, didn't I? We've been working all week and you're going to do this to me. Sorry. You can speak to her afterwards. Awful. If you look at the current building construction, a typical high-rise office building can take from several months to a couple of years from preliminary design to finished construction drawings. Consisting of multiple companies such as architects, civil engineers, structural engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, CAD technicians, project managers, and many, many more professions. That's just on the design side. You've then got to build the thing. In the system under which we currently live, those designers are families. They've got bills to pay, they've got rent to pay, they've got mortgages, they've got food bills, they've got electricity bills, they've got all the problems that you and I have that keep us going to work from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, some of us Saturday and Sunday as well. The reason we haven't done full designs for any of these cities so far is twofold. One, we don't have the funding to be able to take on full-time teams of architects, engineers, CAD technicians, etc. to work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, to produce these drawings for the first city, which could take several months to a couple of years. Secondly, until we know actually where we're going to be building these cities, until we know what land we've got, what resources we've got in the local area, until we know what human resources we've got, how much funding we've got for technology, etc., it's almost impossible for us to actually take them past the visualisation stage at the moment. The transition. This is the favourite question of anyone new to the movement and many of those within it. The truth is there is no single answer to the question of how will the transition play out. Until we know the actual conditions that we're facing at the time of this direction to be taken on board by a particular nation or group of nations, the variables involved in determining the most efficient and smooth transition from the monetary system to a resource-based economy are dynamically related to the conditions of the economy, of the existing infrastructure, of the location of transitioning countries, the resources available to them, the current debt obligations of those countries, and many, many other factors that would have to be analysed and considered in developing a specific transitional approach. So until we actually get to a point where we've got a mass following, where we can actually force the arm of a government or a series of governments, nations, into a position where they're actually going to listen and discuss a resource-based economy, there's very little we can do as far as the transition is concerned. There's so many variables involved in this transition, and it's never been done before. There has never been a transition from a monetary system to a non-monetary system. It's been done the other way around. Before, before a few thousand BC, there was no barter or trade. It was all hunter and gatherer societies, and then we began the monetary systems. It's never been done the other way around, and it's not something that we've got a precedent that we can say, well, this is how we're going to go ahead and do it. That said, there is one thing that is abundantly clear. The current monetary market paradigm is coming to an end, and it will be replaced with an economic system that is based on the available resources of this planet. That said, we would rather it's one on access abundance, cooperation, clean environments, and harmony with nature, and not one based on competition and indifferential advantage. Our biggest obstacle, really, is that we don't get to enough people, and that the countries around this world end up falling back into one of the older, paradigms, whether it be communism or socialism or fascism or whatever. This is why this movement is so important. It's why I'm so glad to see so many of you here today, because this message is actually getting out there, and it's getting out there all over the world, and it's the only way we are going to transition out of this system. In the transition, the problems that exist at the time will determine what will be done and where the resources will be allocated. People who volunteer to be in the first cities will be assigned to what is needed. We have inherited very poor conditions and many disasters that have to be overcome, and the resources we have at the time will go towards resolving these urgent matters. People working with us at the beginning will be working on these problems that have to be resolved towards our stated goals. People will be serving under those who have specialised skills in certain areas. A list of professionals that are needed will be posted, but people will be trained as generalists as well. I think we can all agree that no one wants a carpet fitter to do your neuro medical surgery. Stanley knives in the brain are not good. The standard of living will be constantly updated for all, but in the beginning, scarce resources will be shared. For instance, someone may donate their lawnmowers.
Press back, Andy.
That's good. That's good. So, for instance, someone may donate their lawnmowers. Instead of everyone mowing their lawns with their own individual mowers and needing a mower, there maybe only needs to be a certain number to take care of the entire city. Who's going to mow your lawn? Well, I know a lot of people that love gardening and would be more than happy to spend their whole day in the city mowing lawns and treating gardens and God knows what else. This may also be true during the transition for arts, crafts, musical instruments, etc. They may be donated to the art or music centres. People can use them as freely as they like, return them when they're finished with them. If people are working on scientific projects, there are labs that they can work in with the best facilities available to them. People themselves decide what materials they will use, what they'd like to work with in regards to their personal use. But ultimately, it is the availability of these materials that determines this. For example, if someone suggests that every roof made out of every roof is made out of titanium, since it doesn't readily rust, then the availability and use would be determined by surveys done. Updated surveys are done as to how much titanium we have, the amount of resources needed to extract it, and then other materials available that would work. Are there other materials that are available? Are there other materials in development that could actually be used in replacement that are more abundant? It's the scientific method used to determine what materials we use, when we use them, how we use them, rather than someone's opinion, especially politicians. Where there are scarce resources, people will be working on substitutes or composites to counteract these scarce items and come up with substitute materials that may even be more beneficial, such as materials that serve many purposes for covering roofs, while acting as heat concentrators as well. Before moving into the city, people would need to be orientated to how that city would work. How they acquire their goods, how they acquire services, how they can participate in research, their own projects or even activities that they may want to do. They're not under the dictate of anyone. people will learn that they don't need to take more than they need, and understand that if they do, it will just be a burden to themselves. If I go into Tesco's tomorrow